helpful. If there's other ones you can think them. Hello, and welcome back to my channel, ladies. This is IRL Jax, where I'm Jax, and this is my real life, and I make TTC and lifestyle videos every single Monday. So hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on our journey. Today, I'm gonna kick off a series that I'm gonna call Pre-Appointment Skill Up. And that means these are the videos that you should watch before you hit the doctor's office for those very critical appointments so you can skill up and know the questions that you should be asking. Did you know there's an actual condition called white coat syndrome? And it is when you panic when you sit down in a doctor's office. That is why whenever I go into a doctor's office, I have either my cell phone or a notebook that has all my questions written out. So in this video, I'm going to provide you with some of the questions that you should write down and take into your reproductive endocrinologist before your very first appointment. If there's any questions that I miss, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. I would really love for us all to be able to learn from each other on this platform. So the first question is a little bit of a trick question, but it's one that you should probably ask anyway, and it's a good way to filter out some good REs from some really bad ones, and it's, should my husband get a sperm analysis? And the answer is always yes to this. If they want to start any sort of treatments, Clomid, Femara, whatever, however mild, without getting a sperm analysis, boom, dump them. That is the sign of a bad RE. Other than the first question, these are in no particular order, so I'm going to speed through them, offering a little bit of explanation here and there, but mostly this is for you to watch, write down which ones you think apply to you, and then go on and have a very successful appointment. Hey, and don't forget to leave a like if you found a question in this video helpful that you hadn't thought of before. The next question you should ask is if their clinic runs a genetic carrier testing. This is a whole panel of hundreds of genetic conditions that can be passed on to your children, and usually before you start fertility treatments, you check for these just to make sure there isn't some kind of genetic issues that you're both a carrier for that would interrupt a pregnancy or lead to a child that is going to have a high likelihood of having that condition. Is either of our weights affecting our fertility? This is underweight or overweight. Both are bad for fertility, and actually being underweight often has much more severe ramifications than being overweight. So me, for instance, I have PCOS, so me being overweight has a magnified effect on my fertility versus somebody who isn't struggling with PCOS. For my condition, what does the progression of treatment look like? What's the most mild treatment, and what's the most extreme worst case treatment? And what's everything in between look like? It's also relevant here to ask when the benchmarks are for when you're gonna have chats with your RE about when to move on to a different treatment. I just talked about this in my update video. Update video. I just talked about this in my update video over here, where I am setting a date for 2019 to be when I talk to my RE about moving on from hybrid injectable cycles to maybe IVF. What do the medications and the monitoring appointments look like during this treatment? A lot of times doctors talk about the medications you're going to be on, but then don't mention the fact that you need to come in every other day for an ultrasound and blood work, and you kind of don't want that sprung on you since that is a huge time commitment. Can you review the supplements, vitamins, and medications I'm on? A lot of times REs will be able to identify which medications you're either on unnecessarily or that might affect your fertility, as well as supplements. While most supplements fall under the might help you, won't hurt you category, there are some supplements, especially ones that are listed for fertility treatments, that actually interfere with prescription medications. Please ask and fess up to whatever vitamins you're on to your RE before you start prescription medications, as they may interfere with each other. And because this is also a mental health battle, always ask your RE for a good therapist recommendation, someone that specializes in infertility and loss. What are the success rates with this treatment nationally and in the clinic you're at? Don't let them spew up some national ones. Try to see if they can actually pull together the success rates for their clinic and have them explain any discrepancies. With my condition, are there any additional risks during pregnancy? As any woman that's been through this infertility journey for a while will tell you, getting pregnant is not the goal. having a healthy baby at the end of a 9-month pregnancy is the goal. And sometimes there's conditions that will factor into your pregnancy, not only the conception. So as overwhelming as it can be, go ahead and get those risks and know them now. What's the most aggressive treatment plan you're willing to do right off the bat? This is for people that aren't afraid to kind of dive into the deep end. It's also one that could spur a conversation about your insurance benefits. Let me explain. Some insurance carriers won't start an IVF cycle unless you've done 6 IUIs. Good to know, because if you ask that question of your RE and they're like, well, yeah, sure, I'll let you do some IUIs, but really you need IVF, but you've got to go through these IUIs first. That's important in constructing like your whole timeline and expectations about what your treatment's going to look like. On the flip side, go ahead and ask what the least aggressive one is. A lot of people would like to try to naturally heal their body, and a lot of REs know, at least on a very basic level, about what some natural remedies or improvements are that could help with your battle or be used in conjunction with traditional Western medicine and prescriptions. They might also have a recommendation of a naturopath, if that's the thing you're interested in looking at, that they trust and know isn't actually just spewing nonsense and is actually helping. So once you kind of get down the path of what treatment plan you want to go through, the next question you need to ask is, what are the side effects and how severe are they and how long are they going to last? Again, this is about setting your expectations up appropriately. Obviously, everybody's journey is different and you're going to respond to medications differently, but in general, they can usually give you a pretty good idea of which medication in your regimen is going to be the worst or the best. Not to be pessimistic. What exercises would you recommend and which ones are restricted? This one's very important for when you're stimming. Different doctors have different restrictions, but a lot of doctors will restrict your exercise while you're stimming to just walking, swimming, and very light yoga. Nothing that is very jostling to your body, nothing like hot yoga that gets your temperature way high, no saunas, that kind of thing. Anyway, there's certain restrictions that you normally wouldn't think about, but you have to take extra precautions during different parts of your cycle. Going hand in hand with workouts is asking about diet. This kind of goes back to like choosing a natural way to either supplement your treatment or to make that your full-blown path before you try medications. Ask about diet and supplements, just so you know if there's anything that can help your chances. You don't want to be working against your own treatment plan. So my next question is kind of open-ended, but just ask them if they have any other advice or any other resources that you should be looking at. A lot of times they're kind of in that question-answer mode, like you ask me a question, I answer it, and asking something like this kind of gives them some leeway to open up to you a little bit more and really for you to gain the benefit of their years and years of experience and seeing dozens of different women to give their advice on what you should be doing. So the last question you should ask your RE before exiting the exam room is, what outcome are we shooting for? When's the next time I see you? When should I call you in case of something concerning? And what number should I call you at? These are all really important things because sometimes you walk out of that room and you're like, how am I ever going to talk to them again without making another appointment? A lot of fertility treatment follow-up is done over the phone. You don't need to sit down with the doctor every single time you get your blood drawn or every time you want to like do another cycle. You're more than welcome to, and you can always ask for that, but a lot of times it's just a try again type thing. So make sure that you have a number that you are comfortable calling for mild things like what happens if I accidentally miss a dose, and more severe things like suspected ectopic pregnancies or things like that. So just make sure that you know if there's different numbers you need to call and what you can expect from the process of them getting back to you. All right, ladies, this has been a rapid fire skill up of questions to ask your RE during your very first visit. If you ladies think of anything else that I missed, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys, and I hope that we can kind of support each other here on this forum. And as always, until next time, ladies, keep on fighting.